Hi, and welcome to episode 3 of No Dick Pics with Max and Christina. I'm Christina.
I'm Max.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a fun week, but it's almost over.
Right?
Easter.
Yeah.
Easter's coming up.
Long weekend for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah. It's going to be celebrating Easter all weekend.
Yeah.
Got the kids, so yeah.
All right. So today's topic is pen pals. And I feel like we've all experienced this. And I think at this point, I mean, I've only been like in the dating world for like 6 months now, but I'm over pen pals. Like, that's not a thing I'm going to do anymore. So there have been multiple times where I have connected with someone, had a great conversation with them. It's been like, okay, this is a thing. We're clicking. And then it never turns into anything more. And I don't understand the point.
I don't think people know what they want, so they start off and, I think some people just like the opening. Like I talked about it before, but like the chase. People like the chase, and they enjoy like the first couple weeks getting to know you and stuff, and then it just that's what they're into, and they don't want to like push it any further. Maybe they're scared. I don't know, and then they just keep like it's just like it's like one word answers with text messages and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how you doing? Good. And it's like it's like pulling teeth.
Yeah, I've had ones that I have, like, legitimate conversations with, like, continuously. But, like, there's never a meetup. Or if I suggest it, they're like, yeah, we'll do it sometime, and then it just never happens. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, did you not want to meet? And we'll be, like, super flirty and things like that. And I'm like, so they're not just trying to get laid, because they're not even trying to meet up.
I think some of them, they just don't want to try, and maybe that's their MO. If you kind of, the whole guy thing, like, oh, just act like you're not interested, act like, I don't know. I deal with, you get a lot of them. I just think you just get a lot of people that are kind of boring, and it shows off through their text messages. Like, I have one of my main things is from my old sales days, I used to have to run sales meetings, and we would have like icebreakers to like break the ice. So I bring that icebreaker to like dating, and so my icebreaker is you're stuck on an island, and you get a dish, a drink. Now this is very old, a CD, a book, and a movie. So the point is, we want people to be creative. You can see the creative juices flowing, and that's one of my questions. And so that's when you get the creative people, and then you get the boring people, like, they choose water. The book is, like, How to Survive an Island. And
That's
it's just, like...
smart, though.
But it's boring. Like, I want, like, creativity, like, because I think my answers, I say it's seafood for me, red wine, the book is The Great Gatsby, the CD ranges, like, what mood I'm in.
Cheers.
Oh, cheers.
Speaking of red wine.
And, and, like, I want to find out about, like, movies. I want to find out, like, if book, like, at least people are honest. So, like, I haven't read a book in 3 years. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. CDs, and I like the movie part because I always change it every time. But my go-tos are, like, Goodfellas, Casino, Godfather, or I'll change it up to 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Such a guy answer.
Yeah, but the point is, like, I want to see creativity come out in you, and a lot of people don't have that creativity, and I think that's where... Like, I think that's why some people want to be pen pals. Not that they want to do it, but I just don't think they're very exciting, or they're not good at, And small talk is tough with texting, so you get on the phone with them. I've been on the phone with a few people, and I had to carry the conversation, and they were just not answering, and I was just like, this is good, but, we gotta end it here. But I don't understand the pen pal thing either. It's kind of like dick pics to me. I don't. Yeah. It makes no sense.
I get the point of a dick pic, though. Like, I get, like, why they send them, because they're trying to be like, look at me, let's hook up. But, like, a pen pal, it's like, you just want to chat forever? You just want to text me back and forth?
Maybe someone got out of a relationship, and they really just want to, like, meet people, become friends. I mean, that's what I'm thinking, but, yeah. It happens a lot, you get that pen pal, it's like, all right. But I think a lot of people, like, we talked about this, people don't know what they want. They're like and people aren't emotionally available. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm ready to date," and you get in, and they're not,
Yeah, so many times. There's so many times where people are like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a long-term, serious relationship. I'm looking for my person. I'm looking for this and that," and then it just turns into 2 weeks of a pen pal who's just texting you randomly, how are you today? How was work? I'm like, I mean,
yeah,
like, not even a phone call, just texting. And there was a guy, I think I talked about him before, but there was a guy I talked to right after I broke up with, after 8 Day broke up with me. And he was the most boring person I've ever met, didn't meet, ever talked to in my life. It was like a couple exchanges a day, not interesting at all. I would ask him questions. He was such like a dud. And then I'd be like, all right, I'm done with this guy. And he would say something interesting. I'm like, well, wait. Maybe
there's hope. There's
hope. And then it would just go back to like nothing. Just like.
I just think there's just sometimes you're just boring. You're a boring person.
They can't all be winners, right?
And sometimes you might not be, you just might not be into the person. And, like, I know right off the bat, like, either there's a spark or there's not.
Yeah.
And, but the connection is different. But it's just, sometimes you're just not meant to be with the person. And some people are like, well, I wouldn't mind a boring person, but you really don't want a boring person. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because one of my longtime pen pals, I actually finally met him like a month or so ago. But we're just friends now. But he told me he likes to talk to me and he likes to keep me around because I can carry a conversation and I'm someone who can actually talk to. And I'm like, who are you dating that you can't have a conversation with?
A lot of people don't want to. I'll come out right off the bat like I'm a talker, and I'm gonna talk and talk because it's hard for me during text messages, especially on these dating apps. Like I guess someone made a comment like. It's not that they're not into you, but sometimes it sounds like you're almost too needy. Not needy, but like clingy because of...
I hear that.
Because of all the text message, in the beginning where you just like, you're asking... Because in the beginning, you ask them all the questions and stuff, and sometimes if they don't respond right away, and I send like 7 or 8, I'm like, oh yeah, I see it. So then sometimes I hold back, but then it's just like, why am I going to hold back? This is not true. That's not myself. So...
I have to hold back. I'm psycho.
I don't know. Well...
It's like blue. I just saw a TikTok. I don't know her name. She's that therapist on TikTok who talks about relationships and talks about like don't text every day and stuff like that, which I think is bullshit. Text every day if you want to text every day.
Oh, and the good morning text? Yeah.
Yeah. I like a good morning text. If I don't get a good morning text, I'm pissed. I'm like, damn it. Why? So, she's talking about living in the blue, where it's like all texts that are just like blue, blue, blue. It's all you. And then, like, one, like, okay. And I'm like, well, shit. That's, like, all of my conversations. Like, not just guys. It's, like, my friends. It's blue, 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 blue. I'm like, well, that's just me as a person. I live in the blue. I'm fine with it. I accept it.
Well, that's the whole thing, too. So here's the thing. So I didn't know, but I guess, like, a lot of people don't like the thumbs up because it seems like you're uninterested.
Yes.
And I used to always give the thumbs up because, like, if I'm busy or if I'm driving, the thumbs up is easier than texting. Now I always second guess it. Like, do I do a thumbs up? I don't know.
No,
but you don't want to do a heart because a heart might be.
You have to do the heart.
That might be like pushing stuff.
No.
Like
If you're interested, you gotta do the heart. The thumbs up is like, do you hate me? You know that anxiety thing I posted. Like if like.
Because I don't want to go ha ha if like I really like you ha 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 ha.
But it's like this guy on everything goes back to TikTok. This guy posted like.
It's gonna get banned.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with my time. But this guy posted about how like people with anxiety read text, and the one text is "We need to talk." Period. And he's like, "Are you trying to kill me? Everyone I know is dead." What? It's like people read too much into it, and I think.
What does she mean by that? What is
right.
it? I don't get it. Yeah.
I read too much into everything, but I also like have to rewrite all my work emails to like cool it with exclamation points because I sound like a psycho. Everything. If I could end every sentence with an exclamation point, I would.
They need more emojis to help you go. Maybe like a Yeah. I like the thumbs up. I think it's like, hey, I'm into it. I'm just kind of
cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of busy. I mean, would you rather have a thumbs up or an okay?
I feel like you don't give me a thumbs up. I don't even get a thumbs up.
You want?
Give me a thumbs up, man.
Thumbs up. I don't know. I'll laugh at everything now.
Okay. Ha ha. Did you know that the laughing emoji is not cool? It's like it's an old people thing. We are old people. But now it's the skull for dead. You don't use a laughing emoji, use a skull.
There's too much thinking about emojis. This is the problem. I'm just going to start sending the eggplant emoji for everything. Work, school, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm just hungry.
Yeah.
I'm just wanting some eggplant. That could be taken the wrong way. So, yeah, so we have Suzi coming up. She's our very first guest. Very excited to have her. So, next segment, you're going to meet Suzi, and then we'll be back to close out the show. Well, we would like to introduce our very first guest, Suzi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. No pressure at all.
Yeah, welcome. So thanks for being our first guest.
Of course.
Hopefully not our last.
No.
We'll see how this goes.
Right. All right. So the fun thing is Suzi and I have known each other for longer than I want to admit because that will make me feel really old. Yeah. Over 20 years. But we recently reconnected over like dating stories, which has been really fun. And then I'm like, wait a minute.
But has it been fun?
I mean, has it? We've been through some shit. So.
Yeah. It's a good connection, but not fun.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, we've known each other forever. We lived down the street from each other when we were in high school. But I matched with a guy on Facebook dating, and on Facebook dating, it'll tell you when you have mutual friends. And Suzi was a mutual friend. And so I'm like, tell me about this guy. It was boring. Do you remember him? Yeah. So I asked Suzi, and she's like, I mean, he's fine.
I wanted you to form your own opinion, but I also had to give mine. So it's a fine balance.
Yeah, she was right. He was just, I mean, nice.
You need a little more spice.
Yeah, very nice guy.
Yeah, he's meh, the meh emoji.
That's exactly. And I'm sure he's livelier than that in some way, but not with me. So
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so we're gonna go over some things. You have 4 things that men lie to you about. You want to tell us more about that?
I do. I have 4 things that men have lied to me about. I have a story for each. I have multiple stories for each, but I picked the banger for each one. So again, I've been lied to around these things multiple times, but hopefully you can really just feel the love and desire I have for dating. I have actually been divorced 7 years. I've been on and off the apps. My son is 12. His dad lives in Arizona, so dating is very hard for me, and I kind of go in and out of it. I had 2 serious relationships, since my divorce, but the dating apps have definitely, unfortunately, been part of my life, and every story I'm going to tell you tonight is from dating apps. Yeah. Yet I continue to be on them.
Right, they're draining.
They're toxic, but they're addicting.
Right, and it's a vicious cycle, and we all do it, and whatever. And honestly, most people I've met on these things are lovely people. There's just no spark, and I really attribute that to just like, you can't just like meet someone and like have a spark. Typically, it takes time and it grows. Right. So they're pretty unhealthy. But all right, let me tell you some stories about these lovely gentlemen. So the first thing I've been lied to about is medical issues. So I matched with this guy. I'm not going to give any names, but I matched with a man. This was like 2 months ago. And we had good rapport. He was super cute. He had a little son, and he was super, very passionate about his son. At first I thought it was cute and endearing, and then he was like sending me video upon video of his kid. It was a little weird. Should have been my red flag, but it wasn't. And so we were talking. We finally jumped on the phone. We had a great phone conversation. He's like, hey, I'm going to call you tomorrow. Let's set up a date. And I'm like, sweet. He called me the next day. We set up something to do. This was Thursday. And we were supposed to hang out Saturday evening. And I didn't hear from him. And so I just texted him, hey, you good? On Saturday. And then on Sunday, I get a text back saying, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I went into anaphylactic shock." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Girl, like, I'm not new to this. You're lying." But he sent me a picture of himself, like, in the hospital, face bloated, like, red. It was obvious he wasn't lying.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm really sorry." I'm like, "What was happening?" He's like, "I was raking in my mom's yard and I just went into this shock. I'm so glad I was at my parents' house." And I'm like, "Oh, that sucks." Yeah. No worries. We'll reschedule for next weekend. So we kind of like texted here and there. And then he's like, "Let's do something Friday." And then Thursday I didn't hear from him. All day Friday I didn't hear from him. So at like 4:00 on Friday, whatever. I was me. I was like, "Hey, you good? Did you go back into anaphylactic shock?" He did not appreciate that, and he's like, "I'm sorry, that's rude." And I'm like, "Okay, bro, whatever." So we parted ways. I did, again on Facebook, he gave me some red flags with like how much he posted his kid, and I don't know, there's just something off. So kind of got over that, but then a couple weeks ago, my girlfriend screenshotted me a picture from that one Facebook page. I'm not on it, but it's like, "Are we dating the same guy?" or something.
Yeah.
Someone had posted a picture of him and said, "Tell me about this guy." And everybody was talking about how he lied about going into anaphylactic shock and going into the hospital.
I am looking this up. I'm in that group.
Oh, it's great. And then the best part was, one girl's like, "Yeah, he lives at home with his parents." I'm like, "Well, that's why his parents were able to call 911 right away when he went into anaphylactic shock." And then one of them's like, "Yeah, and he has an ankle bracelet." So that just sealed it up with a nice little bow. So that was the guy that lied to me about his medical issues, also probably his criminal past.
Wow. Where did you meet him? Like, what app?
I think Bumble.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of my list. Bumble, Tinder.
Okay.
Just stay away. So that was one thing. That was probably my longest story too. But
that was a good one.
This should deter anyone. It's horrible out here. If you're considering breaking up with someone, don't stay with them.
Right.
You're fine.
Well, that's what I think a lot of people do. It's like after, a couple years, they tell themselves they're not going to settle, but then they just don't want to go. I mean, I had that experience where I was with someone and now I talk about it. I'm like, why was I with them? And the fact was I didn't want to go back into the dating pool.
Yeah.
Like, you were just like, I don't want to have to do that again.
If you don't want to be with someone, you don't need to be with them, but be happy being alone. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Again, my son, really focusing on raising him, and we can do this bullshit later. But I'll still continue to swipe because, again, toxic.
Right.
So also, another guy, fun. I've been lied to. I think a lot of us have, the whole catfish situation. I haven't gotten that often, actually, but I did get it.
Catfish isn't as much as, I don't think it's as prevalent as it was in the beginning. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this one was unique. So I didn't discover the catfish until date 2, actually. So date 1, we went to dinner, we had drinks. He dropped me off at home. He did not drop me off at home. That was the second date. We kissed. It was great. We had some chemistry. And so we went on date 2. And he did pick me up, and I did have him come into my home after when he dropped me off, which, you know what? We're grown-ass people. Right? I can do that.
Yeah.
I know some people are like, "Oh, that's dangerous." But you know what? I have a 135-pound bull mastiff, okay? Right. I'm not, no one's going to fuck with me. So we were just standing there, and, okay, I should have rewound. On the dating app, it did say he was 5'5". And yes, that is short, but I am 5'0", so who am I to speak?
Little thing, so, yeah.
I mean, I am meant for some of these short kings out here. So I figured, maybe we'll give him a shot. And it didn't seem that weird. I wore my flats. And then he, we were like standing in my family room, like making out, and he starts taking off his shoes. He had lifts on his shoes. They were like 2-inch lifts. So my guy was eye to eye with me.
No.
Okay? Never in my life have I had an eye to eye guy. It was not good. It was not good. Not good. I got very tired. Very tired suddenly.
Yeah,
and
so tired. I had to get up early.
I needed him to leave. Yeah.
Oh,
and I feel so bad about that, but it's like, I don't know. It's comparable to stuffing your bra, perhaps.
Right.
I don't know.
Oh, is it though? Because it's like...
It was like shape-shifting, really.
Yeah.
It was like...
From a guy's perspective, is that the same thing?
I don't know, because I'm 6'1", but I've never considered myself tall, so I never had that issue. But I know that it's a big thing with guys and the height, and they get very intimidated. And so, so certain people feel like, so if maybe he's like 5'3", and with the lifts he's 5'5", so he feels better about it.
He's eye to eye with her.
I know, and I feel bad, and
But I mean, you should. I mean, it's gonna catch up. Like, that's the thing I don't understand. When you lie about something, if it's gonna eventually come out. If it's like height or size or anything, or anything, it's always gonna come out. Especially height or looks. Because that's what I never understood about. I mean, if you're gonna send fake pictures, look nothing like you. I mean, the minute you meet the person, you're gonna be like, this isn't the same person.
Well, and that's why I think dating apps suck. If I had talked to this guy, or if I had known him through like work or something, from the forefront, knew he was that short, which it's fine. It's just not for everybody. Right. But if I had like fallen in love with his personality, it really probably wouldn't have been a big deal. But date 2, ripping off your lifts of your shoes.
It's a Seinfeld episode.
My life is a Seinfeld episode.
Right, Mickey with the lifts, yeah.
I totally forgot about that. We got to make something for that. Okay, so those are 2 lies: medical issues and physical features. The next one's relationship status, and this one isn't as funny. It's just weird. So I matched with this guy, and again, I matched with the guy, and we went out. It was amazing. We talked. He took me to this lovely Italian restaurant, whatever. We ended up dating for like a month and a half. And, he came over. I knew where he lived, the subdivision. I just never went to his house. I don't know. It just didn't come up. I really didn't think much about it. We dated for like a month and a half. It was good. One date we were on, his kids called him. They're both teenagers, and they were like, "Hey, Dad, we're driving down this road." He's like, "Well, come stop by. I'm having dinner with Suzi." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm meeting your children." Like, I was terrified because that was like a next step that I was not prepared for.
Right.
And they came in, and they were so respectful. They were like, "Ma'am," and one of them pulled out my chair. It was really weird.
Wow.
I know, and I was like, okay, this is going somewhere. This is going somewhere. So that was like a Thursday, and then we were going to meet for sushi Saturday or Sunday afternoon, and I did not hear from him. And I even went to the restaurant, and I did not hear from him. And I'm like, "Bro, where are you?" Like he was staying at my house when I didn't have my son. Like, it went from 100 to 0, and I was like, generally, we've all been ghosted, but like I was genuinely like, is this man in a ditch? Like, what is going on?
Right.
I called him, I texted him, and then I'm kind of like, I'm not playing this game. Okay, bye. Sorry, don't know what happened, but something did. Monday at work, my work wife was 10 times more pissed off than I was, and she's like, "Oh no, we're finding this person." She looked up hospitals. She looked up car accidents. She has all these little connections. Yeah. And
FBI.
Yeah. And we left it at that. We left it at like surface level, and then I still hadn't heard from him. I just thought it was so weird. But again, been doing the dating game a while, and I'm like, whatever. Then later in the week, she's like, "Suzi, we really like I got to figure this out." So she went into like court records. My guy was married. Married. And I'm sure I've dated many that have been. But that one was, I don't know, that was a slap in the face. So
a month and a half is a long time.
I know, for me. But best part is the person who he was married to, suddenly her name popped up in my neighborhood Facebook group. She bought a townhome down the street from me.
No.
And I think he like freaked that she was moving in like I can see her townhome when I step out my front porch.
She's your neighbor.
What?
She's your neighbor.
She's my neighbor.
That sounds like a Lifetime movie.
It is, and the this is so sad, but like the two of us have like exchanged instant messages because like something one of us had posted on the Facebook group. Nothing around her husband or ex-husband now, but and I'm scared to tell her because she's very nice, but I'm not telling her anything. I don't know. Yeah. It's weird because she'll like message me sometimes about like my dog or like, hey, did you see that crazy guy in the Facebook neighborhood group? I'm like, oh my god,
was it your husband?
It was with your husband. I mean, I think they were going through a divorce, but still, you did not tell me that, sir.
But like, be upfront, especially after a month and a half.
You guys,
like,
I can't.
I'm very upfront about where I am in my relationship when I meet people. Like, it says separated, not divorced. It says separated. My things. So like, no one's surprised.
Exactly. And like, if you're going through it, just tell me. We're all going through something. Mm-hmm. And the way he acted, though, it was very like we were joking around and made like a stupid TikTok together. Like we were having fun, you know? It was so weird.
I love Suzi.
So we have medical issues, physical features, relationship status, and the last we have are hobbies. Hobbies. And this one threw me. So I was talking to this guy and we were texting and it was a Friday and I'm like, so what are you doing tonight? He's like, me and my buddies are going to a bar. I'm like, cool. He's like, but I lost a bet and I have to dress up for the bar. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. What'd you lose the bet about? And I don't even remember what he said. But he's like, can I send you a picture of what I have to wear? And I'm like, absolutely. Let's do this. This is going to be great.
It was fantasy football. I'll tell you that right now.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, that's what happens. They have to do crazy things.
Well, so he sends me this picture and my guy is dressed like a girl, a woman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that took me for a minute. And I was just like, it took me for a loop, whatever. Threw me for a loop. And I was just like, ooh, okay, you are an ugly ass woman. And I said that to him. I said, you are an ugly ass woman, but you're rocking it. And then he's like, yeah, it was this outfit or this one. And he texted me a picture of himself in another outfit.
Oh, he had options.
Different background. I'm like,
oh,
wait. Or is this the same night? Like, I was just like, okay, you're doing this. You're doing this more than this.
He enjoys the dress.
So I called him out a little bit. I'm like, this isn't a bet, is it? Like, this is something you like. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I do. I love dressing as a woman. And I'm like, he's like, but I'm attracted to women. I just like dressing as a woman. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not it. Like, we're not doing it. And, he's like, can we at least be friends? And like, can you take me shopping and help me find good clothes? And I'm like, no.
He just needed a girlfriend.
He's looking for
a girl. I'm like, again, it goes back to just being honest on the apps, looking for a friend to dress me as a woman.
Right. It's just like, you know, I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum. That's something they like, then cool. But like,
exactly. But don't care. Do your thing.
Right. But like, that's something that people probably want to know.
Don't drag my ass into it. Yeah. So, those are my 4 things that I've been lied to about. Wow. And I have more stories about all of them, but, nobody needs to hear them tonight. You've gotten enough trauma.
I knew you would come in with like quality content. I knew it.
I'm so glad you had faith in me.
But that's the thing. That's like, you're not alone. Like, this is like, I mean, conversations I have with people. I mean, it's just, and this is why, like, I have a friend that's recently divorced and he wants nothing to do with them because he hears like the stuff I go through and other people, and it's just like, but I think there was a study done about the dating apps and how they're like 90% of them are, it's meant to just like almost depress you but keep you hooked, just give you enough.
Well, it worked.
Yeah,
it did, and I need to stop. I really just need to stop. But I don't know. I just need to stop. It's hard. My problem is because I'm a full-time mom. I don't get a lot of like time. Like I said, my ex is in Arizona. It's like my only way of possibly, you know, I'm in this Facebook group with singles and I do love it. And I do feel like I've met some people through that. It's more, you know, in the wild. But it's just hard to meet people. So the apps are where I'm at.
Do you find it, as a parent, I always had this, Because my therapist would always tell me that she thinks I should date another parent because they understand more as someone without a kid doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that, or is it? I don't. I mean,
100%.
yeah.
100%. Yeah, no, I don't. I truly, it's just like the understanding of like, crap, he got sick, or like, this is the parenting schedule, or my ex is acting like a dick. Like, they just got to get it. It's hard to date. I did have a long term. One of my longs was with someone that did not, but he was from high school, Christina, and we can talk on this side.
Yeah.
And he was wonderful and was like amazing and understood all of it. So it does, I guess, but he was okay with not having kids too. Yeah. I think like shop is closed. We are not doing that anymore. So
right.
See, that's the thing I didn't realize in the beginning, that not that I was assuming, but like, I'm 42, 43-year-old woman. I'm like, oh, I figured she's done having kids, so I want to ask. And then I got burned a couple times. So the first thing I do is like, I don't want kids. I don't want to get married again. Are we good with that? And then, but one of my big stuff that the women can concept is that I have a good relationship with my ex-wife. Like our family
still, that is a green flag. Like,
so our family still get together, but a lot of people who have been through bad divorces can't understand, and so usually and then if they have a problem with that in the beginning, I learned to just kind of swerve the other way.
No, you're right, and that's a them problem, not a you problem.
Right.
It's best for the kids. It's best for your mental health, their mental health. Yeah, stay away. But yeah, I just think the apps are terrible, but here we are.
But it's hard. When you meet, like, people don't want to, like, you think, oh, I can organically meet, and sometimes you'll be at a Starbucks and you want to talk to someone, and they just like they look at you with like there's something, like, people just can't talk anymore in public without being on their phone. And
you're like, are they dating someone? Are they married and they don't have their ring? What if I approach them? I look like an idiot. Like, and then by the time you think all that through, they're gone.
Yeah,
so
it's just easier to have the stats in front of you.
Correct.
At least
correct.
You think you have the stats.
But my favorite is the Fred show when they do waiting by the phone.
Yes.
Like, that's some primo content right there. Right. Like, that should in itself dissuade all of us from doing this. But again,
what's funny about that? When I was married, I would listen to it all the time, and I'm like, these have to be fake. They have to be fake. And how do they have one every week? There's no way. This is staged. It's fake. And then I started dating, and I was like, it's not fake. It's very real.
Yep. It's so real. And that is why people ghost, because you can't even comprehend the level of insanity or oddness. And I'll be honest, with all of mine, I'm very upfront because I'm afraid I'm going to get murdered if not. Right. And I'm just like,
huge concern of mine getting started. I'm like, how do you date and not get murdered? Like,
right. I don't worry about meeting up with them. I worry about when you're like, I'm not interested. So you got to like roll it up into a nice little package and be like, oh, you're so great. It's just not my time. Or you got to do it gently. Back away slowly. Don't be mean. Sometimes I want to give feedback and I want to be like, listen, you should not have lied about the lifts in your shoes. Right. Moving forward, don't do that. But
maybe he'll hear this and he'll be like, shit, I shouldn't lie about that.
Yeah, I know. There's going to be a lot of people that hear this. It's great. Well, thank you guys. Those are my lies. Yeah. And
those were amazing stories. That's some good stuff.
Thank you so much again for being our first guest. Loved having you. It's great talking to you and seeing you.
Always, girl. And nice meeting you, Max.
Nice meeting you too.
All right, have fun editing all my swears out of this.
I'm not editing anything out.
Yeah, it's like really satellite. It's like satellite radio. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
Do what you want.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, good to see you, Christina. Nice meeting you, Max. Have a good night.
Too. Thank you.
Bye. Good night. Okay, we're back after a great interview with Suzi.
That was some good stuff.
Some great stories.
Still, I'm gonna buy some lifts now.
That'd be amazing.
I'm gonna be like 6'3", baby.
6'3",
6'3", 6'4".
Lifts are if he was eye to eye.
But when you're I'm 6'1" now. I never consider myself tall, but I was short as a kid. So I understand it. I was short as a kid. I had a growth spurt between like my junior and senior year that I almost grew a foot. But I know the short thing because I still don't consider myself tall because I'm always in the middle of my group. So friends from college, right? There's a 6'3", he's about 6'3", and then there's one shorter than me. So I was always in the middle. I was always in the middle. So I was never considered tall. So I get it. That's a big thing. But like I said, at the end of the day, like you're gonna find out. It's like saying if like if it gets flirty and you're like, oh yeah, I'm 9-10 inches down there, right? And you're not. They're gonna find out. They're gonna
Yeah.
find out. Any physical,
Like,
yeah, any physical appearance or anything is gonna, they're gonna find out. But people are just so self conscious. They're just like, I don't know.
that's wild. And I'm big on the tall guys. Like I get that like I'm fine with someone who's under 6 foot. Like they're still taller than me because it doesn't take a lot to be taller than me. But like I like a tall guy. I like what I like. I'm not sorry.
Like I said, I'm always intrigued about a tall woman. I mean, I don't know if I'd find a woman like 6'2", 6'3". I think that'd be kind of cool. I mean, I have some actually for story time another time. So I worked for basketball, and I actually lived in the same complex as some WNBA players, and so there were some interesting. Not that anything happened with any of them, but we would have like conversations on and it was pretty funny. And those were taller women,
I
maybe.
think you're short.
I think yeah, I was probably that's back in the day. And so back in the day, and that's when I was living was across the street from Oakland University. Not that this means anything with Oakland University, the first round shocker, but most people that know Oakland was actually in Michigan and they probably thought it was in California. Anyway, that's for another podcast of sports and gambling. So, yeah. So I want to get into a topic that everyone asked me about when I first got separated and when you got first separated. I think the most intriguing thing is how you dealt with dating when you first got separated. Like we were talking about this, and all the therapists and all the people say, take your time, make sure you're healed first. So I didn't do that. I jumped right in the pool. Like I went, like maybe not belly flop, but like
Belly flop.
can't maybe cannonball. I cannonballed into it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my god, it's something new, and I was just hitting up people. I was going on dates.
Yeah.
I was just dating. Yeah, it was pretty intense.
So I've heard a few different schools of thought here. Like I've heard take time to heal, find yourself. I know who I am.
But I didn't have anything to heal. Like we were just,
right.
I mean,
and I guess I kind of felt the same way, but I don't because like I know there is stuff to heal from, but I feel like I was in a different place mentally than a lot of people in my situation. So I went into dating, I feel like at a different stage than most people in my stage in my divorce. And so I jumped in head first. And I know some people don't agree with that. Some people are like, you wait till you're divorced. It can take years to get divorced. I don't want to.
I healed with her and her and her. No, I was just like, I was like, I had no idea what I was doing. And I remember I actually met someone and I drove to Indy for a weekend just to like have fun and hang out and stuff. Cause it was just like, I just needed, it was fun. And then you realize, then you're like, okay, then you have an understanding of what you want,
Exactly.
what you're looking for. And then like my first relationship was, and I was still separated. I wasn't divorced yet, was with, so what was it? I was like in the early 40s. So I was dating like a 30-year-old and she was really young. And I couldn't keep up. I just didn't understand like some of the text message she was sending me. So a buddy at work was like, "Oh no, you got to do this," and it's just like it's a game. And she was really into me, and then she wasn't. She was really into me, and then she wasn't.
It is the texting game.
And then
Like,
I remember,
send me a dead emoji instead of
yeah, she was about to she was going to Spain for 2 weeks. So I spent some time with her before, and then like a day or two before, just nothing. I didn't hear from her, so I'm like, all right, this must be over. This stinks. So I remember I was just like, all right, it took me like a day to get over it, so it's fine. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I get a call out of the car, and it's her, and she's calling me from Spain. I was like, I wasn't expecting to hear from you. All right. I'm like, I'm on my way to work. So then like 2 days later, she calls me again, and all of a sudden, I'm like, yeah, what's going on? And she's like, I'm really into you. And I'm like, what? Like, I thought the complete opposite. And I guess my reaction upset her because then I was like, I can come pick you up and stuff, and I never heard from her. Then a couple days after she came back, I was like, "Why didn't you call me?" Well, I want someone that's interested that wanted to pick me up. I was like, "All right," but she kept doing this hot and cold game, hot and cold game. Finally, I was like, "Enough's enough." And so I was just like, I know what she wanted. She wanted a relationship. So I thought that, right? So probably 6, 8 months go by, and all of a sudden I see like a thing on Instagram, and she's married. She got married already. I was like, wow, she really wanted to get married, and I was like, yeah. So I was like, whew, not that dodge a bullet, but there was no. I mean, there was no way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get married if you're not divorced. So
Yeah. So
maybe in Utah, but I don't know.
So for me, I think the problem I've had, and I went into this, I was terrified of dating online. I'm like, my feelings are going to get hurt. Like, I know for a fact. Like, they're just gonna be out to hurt my feelings. And that's all I was concerned. I was concerned about my feelings getting hurt. I was concerned about getting murdered. Those are my top two, top two things.
I don't think that goes through guys' heads.
I listen to a lot of true crime. So, like, I'm like, how did you go through this without getting murdered? Like, how do you hang out with someone? How do you hook up with someone? How does any of this happen and then you don't get murdered? So I was very, very concerned about that, especially with apps.
Oh, you haven't been murdered yet, so that's good.
I've been in a couple of basements, but
I don't think guys have that fear of getting murdered. Now, if like they want to meet somewhere like shady, I'll be like, yeah, I don't want to get, but
yeah, I don't know. It's just like, there's a safety thing. So
it's too much work to murder and clean up and stuff. Yeah.
But I was also just so afraid of what people would think about me, and no one would like me, and like, I was married for a really long time, so I just like didn't know what to expect. So I went into it, and
You had fun.
I had fun, but I got a lot of attention, and I think that's something I didn't expect, was like how much attention I was getting, and like how many people are coming to me, and people are like, I feel like if I saw this person on the street, they wouldn't want anything to do with me.
So explain the breakdown. So I don't think guys realize this, like the amount of messages women get compared to like guys, right? Like if I get 3 messages in a day, I've hit the lottery. And now I hear like people like women are getting like hundreds of messages. I'm like, that's insane.
Actually, it always said 99 plus. I don't know how many I had. It was always, I don't know. I couldn't keep up with them. And I don't know. For me, it's really just like filtering a lot of it.
So what's something that stands out? Like someone's gonna grab your attention. So maybe people are like, yeah. I know the question is like on dating apps. I don't, like what's the go to?
Yeah.
So emojis. If it's straight emojis, you're just like no.
Not necessarily. Oh, maybe. I don't know. For me, I don't really care what they're saying to me unless it's something either very funny, because that's something that's gonna pull me in, or like just very offensive, and then that's an immediately like, no, bye. I will say I swipe left on 99%, and I feel like that's typical. I think a lot of people do. I also do a thing because I have anxiety and I'm self-conscious. I don't like other people. Like, I never go the other way and reach out first. Like, I'm never gonna do that. Because if they like me, I know they like me. I know they're interested already. I don't have to be like, I liked him and he didn't like me back, and my feelings are hurt now.
So a joke is the way to go. I was always wondering, because I would always be like,
It's gotta be funny though. It's gotta be unique and funny. That's hard to do.
Because I did the basic one, like wow, you sound and look amazing.
Yeah,
because
that's cute.
Yeah,
it's always nice to have nice, like, people say something nice to you. Everyone's saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure they all get in like the damn and the fire and the hearts, and
some of them are good though. I'm gonna have to go through. Maybe I'll go through some of my favorites and post them on the Instagram. I have an album of my favorite things that people have sent me. I had I could give you a baby. The guy was like 19. I'm like, please don't. I don't want your. Is it your sibling? Like, I don't want this baby.
I know we've talked about this before. This was the weirdest one for me. For some reason, women think I look like Adam Sandler, and I have no idea where that came from. And I was at the foot doctor yesterday, and she even said it too. And I'm like, I've heard that before, but I Like, so in one of my dating apps, I have like a Hawaiian shirt from the trip to Mexico because I decided to go out.
That trip.
So I went Hawaiian shorts and Hawaiian shirt. And so I understood the Hawaiian shirt maybe with the beard because Adam Sandler wears like crazy outfits, in some of his movies. But I don't know. I like
Let us know if you think Max looks like Adam Sandler. We'll add that to the
no,
poll.
like I don't see, yeah, I don't know.
I don't think he does. But
So that's off topic, but
topic.
the separation, like it was, yeah, it was fun, and then you settle in, and then something that Susie brought up is about loving yourself, and then after about like a couple years dating, I finally took a step back. I remember I took like 6 or 8 months off. I think after the summer, I went like yeah, a good 6 months, no dating apps, and I just really concentrated on myself, and I finally realized like I'm okay. Like, see, before I wasn't okay with being alone because that's obviously why I was in some of these relationships that weren't working and were just very toxic.
Mm-hmm.
But once I realized, it's like, I'm okay if I'm by myself. I would rather be by myself than just have just this drama in my life.
Totally.
And once I did that, and once I realized I'm not going to settle, and I'm going to, if something, like I said, the minute I say I have a good, rapport with my ex-wife, when they're like, "Ooh, I don't agree with that," I would just automatically dump. Yeah. So
it's not cool with that. There's a lot. There's a lot going on there, and that's going to be an
yeah. But once I realized that I'm okay being alone, it changed the game for me. It changed the game for me because I'm like, I don't need this person, and it's good, And of course, the first couple times you go out, you still want to put on a good impression, but I'm like this is me, and if they don't like it, that's fine. Because like I said, I have kids in my life, my family, my friends. I mean, I've got enough, and I've got a busy life. So it's just like, and that's one of my lines too, is like, listen, I've got a good job, I got a car, I got a house, I got kids. Like, I'm not looking for someone.
You'd be amazed.
Yeah.
How many people don't have those things.
Like some of the ones like, I want to be pampered, I want to be taken on trips. I'm like, no, I'm like, I would love to go on a trip with someone, but I'm not going to take you on all these vacations. So, I don't know.
I want to go on a trip. Wait, are there people who do that? If you're someone who does, I'm just kidding.
But that's everyone's ultimate dream, right? Meet someone that has like not so much money, but just has the time to do that.
Yeah. And I've never cared about that. I had a friend who wanted me to date like super successful people with money, and I just don't care about that. It's not. I have a great job. I can take care of myself. I don't need someone to take care of me. I just want someone that can add value to my life.
I just realized you said it before, Spider-Man's right behind us. Yeah.
But yeah, so for me, like, and you are as well, but I'm an only child, so I'm fine with being alone. I have no problem with
We're latchkey kids.
Exactly.
If you don't know what that is, Google that.
Yeah, if you don't know what that is.
That was an 80s thing.
You might not be old enough.
That was an 80s, early 90s.
But I don't know. I am fine. I need some alone time. I get a lot of it now. But I'm fine with being alone. And it sounds funny because I haven't actually really been alone that much since I, I was alone for a little bit, longer than people think. But when I started dating, I've kind of been like back to back to back to back to back. And I'm
alone time is good. I don't get a lot of it either, but when I do, I take advantage of it.
Yeah. I love it. I need it. When I was married, I had to have time in the evening that was just for me because it's the only time of day where I was alone. And so now I get it all the time. But like I had to have like my time to do what I wanted to do because that's all I got. And the whole day was that like little sliver of time.
When you're married, usually alone time is just a trip from work back home.
Right.
And you can do all the long way. And that's how I knew my marriage was kind of fizzling out, that I was taking the very long way. I'll tell a funny story. So even before I got married, but with my ex-wife, we were dating. I think we were engaged. I don't know if we were actually married yet. And I remember someone at work told me, he's like, "Oh, that's all right. You're young. You're happy. Wait." Because this guy was miserable, and he was like, but he was still married. And I realized, like, all those, he's like, he's like, I take a long way home. I do extra stuff so I don't have to get home right away after work. And I was like, that's never going to be me. That's never going to be me. And I realized when the marriage was kind of ending, I was turning into that guy where I was taking the long way home. I was like doing stuff out of the way just so I'd get home later. And I was like, and that's when it hit me. I was like, oh, this is not going.
Did you get an entire second career? I didn't. No, I work so many jobs. But like, I don't know. It's also fun to stay busy for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always busy, so
All right. Well, this is a longer podcast. It's good though because we have a great guest. We have another great guest next week. We have author and wrestler actor Tristan Hayes next week. So he has some great stories. I'm honestly a little scared.
I'm a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah, I don't know what
I'm gonna have to Google him. I definitely am gonna have to Google him.
Yeah. So
some Ric Flair quotes are gonna come out.
So come back next week. We'll have another great podcast for you. And thanks for listening. We still didn't come up with an outro.
We'll figure it out.
That's our outro. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Happy opening day for baseball.
Yay. Bye. Hi guys, it's Christina. I just wanted to add a few notes as I'm editing the episode. First, the sound quality, I know, not ideal. I'm new here and I did not select the microphone when I was setting up the recording. I just let it pick the laptop sound. So, you can't hear me very well throughout the episode, so I apologize for that. Or maybe that's a good thing, I don't know. But also, we're so bad at closing out the show. We're going to work on it. But please rate and review. Please give us 5 stars. And if you have any questions for us about dating, if you want to join the conversation, if you have stories yourself and you'd like to join us as a guest, please email us at nodickpicspod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at nodpicspod or on TikTok at nodickpicspod. So please follow us. Again, rate us 5 stars, and we will see you next week. Bye.